Okay.
As I sat and stared at my phone on February 7, 2017, praying for the courage to dial the number to call the Michigan State Police, I knew the phone call I was about to make would change many lives forever. Prior to my phone call, however, Brooke Lajeunesse chose to change the lives of my son, my family, and her family forever. We live in Chelsea, a small community where everybody knows everyone. I know Miss Lajeunesse had not lived in Chelsea for very long. The families of this community watch out for each other. We celebrate victories and offer support for one another during difficult times. We as parents have an obligation to not only protect our children, but all children from harm. My question for Ms. Lajeunesse is, how do you feel you protected my son while committing these crimes? He was a child who just finished his last year of middle school. Both of your children were older than my son. How did you protect my family, both your children and your husband? I worry for your family who I don't even know. Your actions will affect my son and his relationships with others for the rest of his life. You made a conscious effort on several occasions to make arrangements to meet my son. Sneak out of your house, start your car, leave your husband and your children at home, and drive to my son's father's house, back into the driveway between midnight and 4 a.m., wait for my son to run down the driveway, commit a crime and leave. Did you know that this was wrong? Did you ever worry about the harm you were doing to my son? Did you ever think this could destroy your family? What did you say or do to my son that made him so scared that he had to block you from all social media accounts? How long were you blocked from my son before you decided to seek out your next victim, destroy another family? Only you know how many other children you have affected. My mother's instinct bets that the 2 children you confessed to committing crimes against were only the tip of the iceberg. How many more were suffering? This is something you have to explain to a higher power. Our society has fallen prey to the world of social media. How many middle and high school boys were following you on Snapchat or Instagram? Why did you feel the need to post pictures of you taking baths on your Snapchat story? Why did you snap nude pictures of yourself for these boys? Did you not realize that nude pictures that you shared with these teenage boys were going to be captured? How many young boys unable to control their emotions sent you nude pictures back? How many of those young boys sent you requests to come over? When you started interacting with my son, you were a 38-year-old woman and a mother of 2 teenage children. Why, I ask, why would you ever feel the need to perform sexual acts on young boys? Put yourself in my shoes. How could you have felt that this was your daughter having sex with a much older man or your son having sex with an older woman? I do not understand, nor will I ever be able to comprehend those desires you had. Our society has created different standards for women that perpetuate crimes against young boys versus men who perpetuate crimes against young girls. Your Honor, I ask that you please not treat this any differently. My son was still a middle school child who could not control his emotions nor hormones. Ms. Lajeunesse is a predator, and she needs to be dealt with no different as if she was a man who preyed on a young girl. When I look into my son's eyes and let him know that I was aware of the crime that was committed against him, he looked at me as if his soul was hollow, that he was ashamed to make eye contact. Why should he be ashamed? I told my son that I loved him and that I was not mad at him. I was upset that this happened to him, that we could not change what happened, but that we could make sure Ms. Lajeunesse could never do this to another child again. He shared that he was relieved and that he would cooperate with me and the police to bring Ms. Lajeunesse to justice. When I spoke with the police, they requested that I obtain a written statement from my son detailing what had happened. I pray that no parent should ever have to go through or hear the details of a crime that was perpetuated against their own child. This crime that you have committed against my son has not only affected him, but has affected my entire family. My oldest son, who was in college, has called me on several occasions to talk about how this has affected him. I have had to listen to my 21-year-old son weep over the phone and share how he is worried about his little brother. He had a difficult time concentrating at school during his spring semester. My daughter has struggled with questions from people in the community, with her anger towards Ms. Lajeunesse, that worry for her little brother, her worry for me, all while trying to keep it together while she went to school. I too have struggled. I have had many sleepless nights, struggled with my job, had to share this awful crime with my family and employer, have had to struggle to stay strong for my son while letting him know that I will protect him. No one knows what the future impact will have on my son and his future relationships. There has been much research conducted on children who have been victims of sexual crimes. This is a greater choice that my son there is a greater chance that my son could turn to addiction, depression, suffer issues in his marriage due to this crime, and have lifelong scars due to Ms. Lajeunesse' actions. There is a reason that having sex with a child is illegal. I asked my son as soon as this crime was brought to my attention if he wanted to go to counseling. In the beginning, he did not want to go. It was not until April that he came to me and said that he was struggling and needed to speak with a counselor. My son shared with me that this crime has changed who he is. He said he is not as outgoing in school and has become much more introverted. The guys at school pick on him and say it's cool that he had sex with a mom. My son shared with me that the guys in school have no idea what he has been going through and how he struggles. He has had to stay strong in front of them. My son has been going to therapy and will continue to go to therapy until he feels at peace and has the tools to deal with the situation. There is no way to know how long he will need to receive psychological and emotional support to continue to be a strong, happy, and well-adjusted member of society. My son has suffered both psychological and emotional damages from the actions of Ms. Lajeunesse. Your Honor, I beg that you treat Ms. Lajeunesse as the predator she is. If you do not give Ms. Lajeunesse the maximum sentence under the law, she will be back standing in your courtroom in the near future with another victim and her family hurting as my family is right now.